What's going on, man? I know it's been a few days since I posted a video. I usually like to put at least 3 videos out a week, and I have been pretty consistently, but I'll be honest, man, I've been going through some personal stuff the last few weeks or so, and it just didn't feel right to turn on the camera because the energy that I'm in is gonna come across to you, and I always wanna make sure that I'm bringing my best. But here we are. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been watching my content for the last year or so, I appreciate your support, man. It's crazy because I didn't really expect to get much traction earlier on, to be honest. And I mean, I've only got a few thousand subs, but that's like having 3,000 people, in a room, and I'm super grateful for that. But I started the YouTube channel technically a few years ago, but I didn't really start taking it seriously until the beginning of this year. And I was posting a video a day for several months, and then I had to scale back the volume a little bit to about 3 videos a week, but lately it's just been a bit slower. But generally, you can expect me to put out at least 2 or 3 videos a week. So the goal is to be putting out 3 videos a week consistently. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Oh, where do I begin? Well, You know, I I took a hiatus from dating for about a year and a half or so, roughly. And it wasn't until, this year that I decided to just start dating again. I wasn't dating anyone for about a year and a half. I was protecting my energy. I wasn't sleeping around. And it's been very, very interesting so far. It's been a very interesting journey so far. Lots of reflection, lots of takeaways. And one thing's for sure is I've realized that, and I've talked about this stuff a lot this year already, but the dating market is tougher than it's ever been. And things have really changed a lot. The landscape has changed, especially after COVID. I mean, I swear, people just lost their minds after COVID. Like, it's crazy. But, I'm sure you've probably been struggling in the dating market. You've been struggling out here in the dating. Maybe you want a girlfriend, maybe you don't, maybe you're happy being single, you know? It's cool either way, it doesn't matter, right? But I'm sure you're probably frustrated because I have been frustrated in the past and I kinda let it get to me, but, you know, you can't really you can't really let it get to you too much. So that's why I'm gonna help you today. We're just gonna kind of dig into, what is the real truth in modern dating right now? Like, what is really going on, and how can you optimize yourself, maximize the cards that you're dealt, right? In life, because that's what it's all about. I know a lot of guys are lonely, a lot of guys are depressed, a lot of guys lack community, they lack brotherhood, they're maybe, a lot of guys are unemployed right now. A lot of people are unemployed. Actually, there's probably more men right now that are unemployed than women. And it's tough. And here's the thing, right? Technically, women are the choosers at the end of the day, right? Okay. And there's less and less women that are, you know, sleeping with guys, right? And so what happens is this chain reaction of guys resulting to to porn and bad habits and indulging in vices and all kinds of stuff and just being glued to the video games. But it's tough, man. It's really tough. Women, like, all right, so women have a lot of options these days, as we know, and at the end of the day, you know, you want to find a high quality woman. It's hard to do that today, especially if you live in a big city, but I'm sure that they're out there. It's just, these a lot of women have a lot of baggage. They have a lot of trauma that's unhealed. And there's a lot of guys that struggle too, right? I'm not just gonna call it the women. But the brutal truth is, you know, women have a lot of options, right? So let me give you an example. Um, let's say like you get to know a girl, let's say you meet her out somewhere, or maybe you meet her on a dating app and you guys start talking, and you start, you go out, you're dating initially. She's showing that, high interest in you, responding quicker. She's excited to talk to you. You can tell in the tone of her voice, the way she acts, her body language, the way she texts you. And then she starts to fall back, right? Starts to kind of pull back a little bit. Maybe she starts, sending you mixed signals, right? You try to set something up and she says, "I'm busy," just going through some stuff, excuses, things like that. Which, she could be busy, but a lot of the times this is a passive, soft deflect, right? To kind of just avoid it and not just saying straight out. Like most of the time, a woman is not going to tell you straight up that she's not interested unless you're acting crazy, coming at her really hard, right? She's just going to drop hints, make excuses, flake, things like that. If she's playing that the cat and mouse game with you, right? Flaky, interest level starts dropping. You can tell the delayed responses, all those things, man. She's seeing other guys, right? You're not the only guy. If she's flaking, ghosting, what you've got to understand is, there's always another guy in the picture. There's always another guy in the picture. It doesn't matter how attractive she is. Okay. It doesn't matter. There's always another guy in the picture. Okay. And this is the reality. You know, I think a lot of guys would prefer to just have one woman. They would prefer to just, stick to one, because we would invest a lot into that one girl. That you find a solid girl. She seems solid on paper. Vibe is there. You would be cool with just focusing on her. Right. And, I personally think most women would prefer to have that one guy, the solid guy, right? But the problem is they get bored with a lot of guys. They don't stimulate them enough, or maybe they're lacking in certain things, whether it's money, career, personality, looks, height. I mean, all these, whatever it is, right? And so they have a hard time finding a guy that's got everything. And here's the brutal truth: they're not going to. They're not going to find what they want on paper. And this isn't a knock at women in general. This is not a blanket statement, but a lot of the women out here are delusional because of social media, of dating apps, and all the likes and the matches and the validation and Instagram and everything, man. So a lot of them are delusional. Okay. Now you shouldn't waste time with women who are superficial, women who only care about how tall you are, how much money you make, all this kind of stuff, right? Look, the brutal truth is these things are important. Like status, money, okay, to an extent, right? Status, money, your personality, looks are important, okay? But you can't control some things. You can't control how tall you are, right? You can control how far you are in your career, how much money you're making, if you're, a prisoner to your vices, if you have a mission, a purpose, if you have a social circle, social proof, right? You have a lifestyle that you've built up. You can control those things, man. You really can. And so while I say it's the whole package that at the end of the day that women are looking at, they're looking at the whole package. What's the most bang for my buck in terms of hypergamy? What's the most bang for my buck that I feel like I can get? Okay. Now, if you're dealing with a woman who is very, very, very attractive, like seven, like an 8, 9, right? I mean, she's focused on a different tier of guys, right? And that just is what it is. A lot of guys, I find them shooting out of their league, right? But I digress. You gotta understand, most women are talking to multiple guys because they have attention that needs to be met. Most girls, right? They're talking to multiple guys just to see who's going to vet out, right? To see who's going to pass a test, who's going to vet out, who's going to withstand the storms, right? All this kind of stuff. And because, they can't find it all in one guy. So there's always another guy in the picture. This is the reality. And, sometimes they like to crack the door open for validation. So, this could mean, maybe she's got a public social media profile, or she starts posting, more pictures of her in the gym, or, kind of thirst traps and things like that. Um, Kind of just fishing around, right? That's really it, man. I mean, that's really that women who have a public profile, influencers, things like that, you know, they're leaving the door open. Okay, they're leaving the door open for validation. And at the end of the day, it really just comes down to like who she likes the most. And then being able to handle things well. Like if she likes you the most, it's picking up on that and being able to handle the situation well without fumbling it, right? That means having good emotional control or emotional regulation. Now I'm not saying you should play any games though. We're not playing games, guys. We're not playing any toxic games. Like screw all that stuff. Okay? It doesn't work. I mean, look, I mean, some of this, like, we're not manipulating anyone out here, but some of these dating coaches and like some of these games and stuff, all these like kind of Jedi mind tricks and things. I mean, does some of this stuff work from a psychological standpoint? Yes, it does. But ultimately, you're not going to attract a high quality woman doing that. I know because I've been there. Can it work? Some of this, PA stuff, some of this pickup artist stuff, some of these psychological kind of, hacks, which aren't really hacks. Everybody knows about them these days. Can it work? Yeah, it can work. If you're just trying to hook up and things like that, I mean, if that's kind of your goal, then sure, by all means, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But, if you go that route, you go that route. But we're not manipulating here. We're not playing games. Most guys want to find a decent woman, right? But this is the brutal truth. It's competitive out here. The brutal truth is this: women care about looks. Looks are important. Height is important because from a biological genetic standpoint, you're looking at who, if I mate with this guy and have, kids, like genetically, how are we going to be set up? They look at the drive of a man. They look at a lot of things. They look at, his career. They look at how kind he is, if he's a compassionate guy, if he has a good, healthy balance of the masculine and the feminine, like a healthy man, right? This is what a healthy woman looks for in a healthy guy. Okay. So women look at a lot of different things. The emotional intelligence of a guy. It's not being needy, right? Not over validating, but all these things, bro. They look at all these things. But like I said before, you can only focus on the controllables. You can only focus on what you can control. So optimize your looks, understand that they are important. And I understand that maybe you're like, well, I'm not the best looking guy. Okay, well, you just have to get after it and level up every area of your life. I mean, everything else that you can control, you gotta make up for it. You're gonna have to compensate in other areas. Okay, that's all there is to it. So now, I'm sure you guys probably hear a lot of the red pill content. Myron, shout out Myron. He's got a lot of great content. I agree with a lot of Myron's points, but he does make a lot of blanket statements, and I don't really believe in blanket statements. I'm just telling you guys honestly my opinion. I don't want to mislead anyone. I don't want you guys to, pigeonhole yourselves, but understand it's competitive out here, right? The brutal truth of modern dating is women have a lot of options, as we know, and if you're not happy with the results that you're getting, then you should optimize your looks. You should optimize your career and your money, make more money. Just build up your life, man. You got to build it up more. And stop playing it cool. Stop playing it cool out here. What do I mean by that? Playing it cool. Now, say you meet a girl. I'll give you a quick story. Let's say you meet a girl at yoga, at a workout class. See a girl, see her in class, and you're like, oh, gorgeous girl. I'm going to go talk to her. Go talk to her. Maybe you get her Instagram, you flirt, talk for a little bit. And yeah, you got the IG. Let's say maybe she invites you to go to a workout class. And say it's, in a couple days, you show up, you hit the workout. Okay. Work out together. Cool. Didn't go for the number there. Left. And let's say, you just kind of go about your life. Maybe you're talking to other girls. but maybe you really like that girl. Maybe you really felt the vibe. Maybe she was super your type, super attractive, right? And you're like, damn, okay, all right, yeah, I can get with that. But you're playing it cool for a couple weeks. Maybe it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're just still in the DMs. You never went for the kill yet, never actually asked her out, man. And then let's say you decide to pop back into the gym that she goes to hit a workout class with her because you're like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go this time. I'm gonna go ask her out this time. Finally gonna man up and ask her out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, took a couple weeks, few weeks. Maybe you had some personal stuff you're dealing with. Maybe you had another girl you're talking to. But maybe she wasn't a priority. And you're like, let me play it cool. I don't want to act overly interested. I want to act too interested, right? Let's say you go back to that class. You're like, all right, today's my day. I'm gonna make my move. I'm gonna get her number, make it happen. And let's say you work out, the vibe is good, the energy's right. You're like, yes, okay, cool, let's get it. In the class, you go for the kill. You ask for a number. Say, hey, I was meaning to ask you this, but we should grab a drink sometime. And she says, oh yeah, cool, just DM me on IG. Like, okay, cool, sounds good. Have a good one. And you leave. Let's say you wait. Well, she doesn't DM you. Let's say 2 days goes by, she doesn't DM you. You notice she unfollowed you already on Instagram, and yeah, is what it is, right? Keep it moving. Now, I'm just gonna give you a scenario. I mean, playing it cool. Maybe you're playing it cool, intentionally playing it cool. Some other guy already swooped in, bro, within that 2 to 3 weeks. I can tell you right now. Go after and get what you want. Stop playing it cool. Get after it in your life. The brutal truth is it's competitive, man. It's a competitive job market. It's competitive dating. Everything's competitive today. And you know, the brutal truth is women do look at all this stuff on paper. A lot of them are, you know, that's the reason why a lot of them are still single because a lot of them are delusional. Um, you know, but you got to get after it in your life. You got to go get after it in your business, in your body, constantly evolving, constantly ascending, constantly growing, and talk to women in person. Make moves quick, man. Make moves quick because otherwise someone's going to swoop in. I used to play it cool, had so many missed opportunities. And, it is one of those things. You could also, pose the argument of, well, if it's meant for you, it'll be, which I also agree with too. If it's meant for you, it will happen. But we also fumble sometimes in life, we fumble sometimes in life. But, yeah, man, just, if you find a girl that you like, they'll be over the top, but also make your intent known, express interest. She's gonna go after the guy that makes her feel good, the guy who she's interested in, the guy who she feels is her best option. Okay. And I would also say too, like, don't worry if you get ghosted, don't worry about if she ghosts you, why she ghosts you, unfollows you. Just carry on with your life and have an abundance mindset. Just keeping the momentum in your life across the board. Okay. Stay busy. Keep yourself having options. And like I said, that abundant mindset is going to serve you well. Just remain detached, become outcome independent. Like, hey, cool, I'll invest. If they invest, if there's reciprocity, I'm good either way though. You know what I mean? Keep that abundance mindset. And yeah, also don't bend over backwards or break your back. Like, don't get emotionally invested into a woman, especially too early. Too early, too soon. Especially not early on, man. It's fatal. All right? It's fatal. Don't invest too much. I'm telling you guys, don't invest too much too soon. Finances, emotionally, all this kind of stuff. Time. Go after and get what you want, but don't break the bank. Don't, be a simp and change up your schedule, rearrange your schedule. She's got to fit into your lifestyle. But at the end of the day, if you want to succeed in dating, it's all about interest level competition. Okay. Who's keeping her the most stimulated? Now, let's see if I've got a battery bar. I know I've used this analogy before. This battery bar. Okay. Every woman has a battery bar. And let's say there's, 3 to 5 guys in that bar. Okay. One guy drops off. Now she's got room for one more to keep her attention stimulated until she meets a guy that she feels can stimulate her across all areas that she needs. All right. Interest level competition. That's why, a lot of the dating coaches, there's a lot of like outdated information, okay, that I used to consume years ago, 7, 10 plus years ago. But, they talk about, oh, like, don't text a girl, don't ever text a girl, you know, just use the phone to set appointments, like to set dates. Like, nah, dude. In today's day and age, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, like, dude, nah. It's not gonna work. She's gonna fall, she's gonna lose interest. Some other guy's gonna swoop in. It doesn't work like that. You gotta stay on it, man. You gotta stay on it, especially in the beginning, because you are competing for her attention with other guys. All right. So it's interest level competition. And it's all broken into brackets. Okay, so what do I mean by brackets? So there's this concept of the 80-20 rule, okay? Your competition right now in the dating market are the guys that are in your bracket, okay? So in your bracket right now, with your finances and your career, your physique, like all this kind of stuff, all right? Your lifestyle, okay? Where you fit into that. Your bracket, 80% of the women in your bracket right now are going after, let's say, about roughly the top 20% of the guys, okay? Those top tier guys in your bracket, 20%, all right? So you're not like, for example, you're not competing with like celebrities. You're not competing with, fitness models or like whatever, right? Unless you kind of fit into this mold. But if you're a guy who, let's say you're making 6 figures a year, let's say you're, a decent looking guy, have a good career, your intelligence, right? But you're still, for some reason, you're still struggling with trying to nail a girl, trying to get that girl that you want, right? Maybe your physique has been slipping a little bit. You're like, oh yeah, you look in the mirror, like, yeah, I could have better habits. And I'm hooked on porn and vaping and all this kind of crap. Self-soothing. Yeah, my physique could look better, but I'm good in these other areas. Okay, well now like you're competing with the guys who have that you don't have. Now they had the physique, right? But they had the money too and the looks and everything else, right? So she's gonna be more into the dude who's got more in your bracket, right? That's how it works in the corporate world. If that's your bracket, okay? So that's it, man. That's really it. But also, this last thing I want to mention that I didn't understand until even probably this year it started to register with me. Understand that when you improve yourself, when you're on this personal growth journey, you're improving your life overall, you as a person as a whole, you are going to put yourself into a higher bracket. And then it's even more competitive. So I used to always think, oh, when I get here, when I get there, when I'm making this amount of money, when I'm at this job, and at this title, when I have my physique here, when I live here, when I have this car. No, 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 no. Because every time you level up, you just begin to transition into a new bracket where there's more competition. So anyway, guys, I know we can get in the weeds with all this shit, but kind of a ramble today, a little bit of a rant. Like I said, I haven't shot a video in a few days, so I'm just kind of getting things warmed back up. But truthfully, the brutal truth of modern dating is it never actually gets easier. That is really it. It never actually gets easier. It never gets easier. All you can do is focus on you, focus on your life. Talk to women in person. Trader Joe's, the gym, yoga, workout classes, go to meetups, run clubs, sign up for like events and stuff like personal development seminars. There's a ton of places, but I have videos on that. All you can do is focus on the controllables in your life, maximize the cards that you were dealt. And yeah, man, just keep shooting your shots. Keep shooting your shots. So that's all I got for you guys today, man. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, bro, I don't know why not. Hit subscribe. And yeah, comment down below. Let me know what you guys are going through. I want to know right now what you think about the dating market right now, 2025. I want to hear it. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.